Elon Musk saw you in his dream, now he's trying to find you. 3 nights ago, something extraordinary happened, something I can't quite explain. I'm not the type to talk about visions or dreams. My life is grounded in physics, engineering, and tangible results. But this experience was different. It felt less like a dream and more like a transmission, a message sent directly to me. I woke up with an unshakable certainty: this wasn't fantasy. It was a warning. Before I share more, I want to know, where are you watching from? Drop your city, state, or country in the comments. Now, let me tell you what happened 3 nights ago. I hesitated to share this because I know how it sounds. I know how quickly people dismiss anything that doesn't fit neatly into science or measurable data. My entire career has been built on evidence, repeatable experiments, and frameworks validated by results. I've launched rockets, engineered self-driving cars, and pushed technology beyond what many thought possible. And yet, what I'm about to reveal defies all those categories. Still, it feels more real than any machine I've built. 3 nights ago, I had what most would call a dream. But it wasn't a dream in the usual sense. It wasn't a jumble of images stitched together by a restless mind or fragments of the day replayed randomly. It was sharp, clear, and heavy with meaning. It felt less like something my brain created and more like something it received, a signal, a message passing through me. In this vision, I found myself in a vast, infinite space. At first, I thought it was a library. Endless shelves stretched in every direction, filled with glowing books. But these weren't ordinary books. Their spines pulsed with light, humming softly, alive in a way I instinctively understood. Each book represented a human life, every experience, every failure, every breakthrough, every lesson learned, encoded in radiant pages. As I walked among the shelves, I noticed most books were dim, barely glowing. Their light was muted, as if covered in dust and forgotten. It wasn't that these lives lacked meaning. It was that their stories had gone unread, their wisdom unshared, their insights unseen. That ache in my chest grew because I realized this is exactly what happens in our world every day. We are surrounded by brilliance and potential, yet so much of it remains locked away, ignored. Deeper into the archive, some books shone brighter, warmer, alive, magnetic. Then I stopped. Among millions of dim volumes, one book blazed with such intensity it pulled me like gravity. When I touched its spine, I didn't see pages, I saw a person. Not famous, not powerful by conventional standards. Someone history might overlook. But their presence hit me with the force of recognition, even though I'd never met them. Their eyes told a story I can't forget, brilliance mixed with frustration. The look of someone who solved problems others couldn't even see, yet was dismissed so often they began to doubt themselves. Their book glowed not because the world celebrated them, but because inside, quietly, they uncovered truths and solutions that could have saved years of wasted effort, even entire industries from collapse, if only someone had listened. But the tragedy was clear. They had been ignored, dismissed, told their ideas didn't matter. After enough rejection, they stopped trying. They closed their book, dimmed their light, and told themselves their knowledge was worthless. That weight of resignation hit me harder than anything else in the dream because this wasn't just one person. It was millions. Maybe it's you. I woke with my heart pounding, my mind racing, a voice inside saying, "This matters. Don't ignore this." For 3 days, I haven't stopped thinking about it, not because I believe in mystical visions, but because I think it was my brain processing what I've seen all along but refused to fully acknowledge. I've met countless quietly brilliant people, those who see patterns others miss, whose insights outperform polished theories. Yet they're sidelined, ignored because they lack the right degrees, connections, or credentials. That dream forced me to see this as a single urgent truth: we waste extraordinary human potential every day, and the cost is incalculable. How many innovations never happened because the person with the solution was told they weren't qualified? How many lives remain dim in that endless library because people convinced themselves their story wasn't worth sharing? How many answers to our greatest challenges are locked inside someone's lived experience, hidden because the world taught them to stay silent? That's what I saw in that blazing book. That's what I felt in that impossible signal. And that's why I'm speaking directly to you. It's possible, likely, that the person I saw wasn't a symbol. It was you. Your book is already glowing. The question is, will you open it? When I try to explain the vision, words feel too small. But I'll try. Imagine a place older than time, alive with a pulse greater than electricity or data networks. A library, yes, but unlike any we know. Shelves stretch endlessly, containing the sum of human existence. The books pulse like heartbeats, some steady, some flickering, many dim, their knowledge locked away, nearly cold. Each volume is a human life, not names or resumes, but the essence of lived experience, failures, breakthroughs, hard-earned insights, truths that survive when theory collapses under reality's weight. This isn't history written with facts and dates. It's history lived, raw, vivid, encoded in light. I walked among these shelves in awe and unease. So much potential locked away, unseen. So many books closed, their glow faint, as if once bright but now forgotten. This is the tragedy of our world. Every life holds data, discoveries, answers to problems others face now. Yet most remain locked inside. Think about your own life. The lessons you learned the hard way, the mistakes you wish someone had warned you about. How many years of struggle could you save another if you shared those insights? Yet most keep them hidden, sometimes because they don't see their value, sometimes because no one asked, sometimes because the world rewards credentials over experience. The library grows, shelf after shelf of glowing lives unread, unvalued, fading into silence. But here's what shook me: the brightest books weren't always the powerful or famous. Some of the brightest lights belonged to ordinary people: a mechanic who doubled engine life, a single parent with resilient strategies no seminar could teach, a teacher who reached students others gave up on. Their books burned bright because they dared to share their insights, imperfectly but openly. It wasn't about status or recognition. It was about contribution. Their light proved that sharing what you've learned ignites something larger than yourself. The pattern was clear: dim books belong to lives lived in silence, convinced their knowledge doesn't matter. Bright books belong to those brave enough to share, regardless of applause. The library became a mirror, reflecting our world. We are surrounded by luminous human beings carrying solutions to problems we pretend are unsolvable. But because their light lacks prestige or authority, we ignore them. We let their volumes gather dust, losing decades of potential progress. I felt a physical ache. The shelves weren't just metaphor, they were indictment. For every crisis, climate, inequality, broken education and healthcare, answers already glow in lives we ignore. The problem isn't absence of solutions. It's absence of recognition, value, permission. How many times have we delayed survival because we refuse to read the books already written? How much potential is wasted because we trust only voices with the right credentials, platforms, or pedigree? In that library, the truth was clear: brilliance is common. What's rare is the courage to let it be seen. The library wasn't passive. It was alive, responsive. When I paused before a bright book, it pulsed stronger, as if saying, "Yes, here is something worth seeing." When I passed too quickly, the light dimmed, resigned to invisibility. This is how people respond in real life. We shine brighter when noticed, when someone signals our insights matter. When ignored repeatedly, we dim, not because the light is gone, but because we believe it doesn't matter. That realization hit me like a weight. Every one of us carries responsibility. We write volumes into that archive daily. The question is, will we leave our books closed or glowing for others to learn? If we ignore this, the shelves of dim light multiply, and humanity stumbles blind to solutions already here. I don't know how long I walked that endless archive. Time didn't matter. It was measured in light. Every step past shelves of dim lives, wisdom dormant, hidden. Then I saw it, the book that stopped me. Not just glowing, but blazing. Like a small star, warm, magnetic, undeniable. Gravity itself seemed rewritten around its light. This book wasn't asking to be noticed. It demanded it. When I reached for it, I understood, this wasn't just another life. It was the life that called me there. The light carried weight, texture, density. It wasn't bright because of fame or power, but because of something rarer, clarity born of experience, brilliance forged in fire, insight carried quietly by someone overlooked. The book opened, not with pages, but with a vision. There stood a person. Their eyes haunt me still. They held a contradiction I've seen too often, brilliance and frustration, sharp observation born of doing, but resignation born of being ignored. They had solved problems years ahead of experts, spoken up, been brushed aside for lacking degrees or titles, sent work only to receive polite rejection citing lack of certification. With every dismissal, their belief chipped away until they closed their book, not because knowledge was gone, but because they believed it didn't matter. That was the tragedy in their eyes, brilliance buried under resignation. Yet the book glowed because the answers, breakthroughs, lessons remained inside. The light waited. The world hadn't recognized it yet. I wanted to tell them, you carry what the world needs. Your light is brighter than most. Your book glows because inside you is something rare, valuable, urgent. But every time I stepped closer, they faded, retreating, as if recognition felt unsafe. That moment broke me. This wasn't just one person. It was millions, people who solved problems, learned truths, but stopped sharing because the world told them not to bother. Maybe one of those people is you. Maybe your book glows now, but you believe no one cares. Maybe you've been told your background disqualifies you, your lack of credentials invalidates you, your perspective isn't relevant. Maybe you believed it. Maybe you shut your book. If that's you, understand this: the dream, the archive, the blazing volume, it wasn't random. It was a signal, a reminder, a warning. The world cannot afford your book to stay closed. Because the future doesn't belong to the credentialed or powerful. It belongs to problem solvers, to those who see what others miss, to those quietly building answers in the shadows. If that's you, your silence isn't humility. It's loss, for you and for everyone who could benefit from your wisdom. Standing before that blazing volume, I felt urgency heavier than any rocket launch or breakthrough. This isn't about one company or one innovation. It's about humanity wasting its brightest lights. My task isn't to decode the dream scientifically or logically. It's to deliver its message. Someone reading this is the brightest volume. It's time to open. The more I replay the vision, the clearer it becomes, the person I saw wasn't extraordinary by society's standards. No magazine covers, no keynote speeches, no spotlight. They were rarer, an unseen innovator, carrying extraordinary solutions hidden by systems that pretend to value innovation. We say we want fresh ideas, but reward conformity and credentials. We idolize visible innovators while ignoring the unseen. Yet often, the unseen hold the missing pieces. Think of breakthroughs born not in boardrooms or elite universities, but garages, small towns, minds dismissed by the establishment. The glowing book represented the unseen, someone underestimated so long they began to underestimate themselves. Let that sink in. This isn't just a dream. It's a mirror of reality. The person I saw could be your neighbor, the employee whose ideas were dismissed, the student who learned to stay quiet. These unseen innovators exist everywhere. And here's what should disturb you: they often hold solutions to problems we still face. Imagine a farmer in a remote village growing crops with a fraction of the water. Imagine a single mother balancing work, childcare, and education in ways that could reshape productivity. Imagine a retired worker who understands why industries fail and how to stop it, but whose voice was never invited. They exist. I've met some. Each time, I wonder, how many more are out there, unseen, unheard, unvalued? How many glowing books wait unopened because the world doesn't know where to look? The unseen innovator's power is perspective unfiltered by conventional wisdom. They don't recycle theories. They've lived, tested, failed, adjusted. They see straight lines where experts see knots. They identify truths academia overlooks, solutions corporations dismiss, strategies governments ignore. But none of that matters if their voices are silenced by systems that prize status over substance. This is urgent. The problems we face, climate change, economic instability, technological disruption, social fragmentation, won't be solved by repeating old formulas. If old answers worked, we wouldn't still face crises. We need what the unseen innovator carries: new thinking grounded in real experience, free from convention's weight. The danger isn't absence of solutions. It's that those who hold them don't believe their voice matters. That's the tragedy in those eyes: brilliance, frustration, resignation. After enough rejection, they stop trying. I can't get that image out of my head. Resignation is contagious. When one innovator dims, the ripple effect is enormous. We lose not just their contribution, but everyone inspired by it. Multiply by millions and you see the cost of overlooking the unseen. But here's the truth: being unseen doesn't mean unimportant. Often, it means the opposite. History's greatest changemakers were unexpected. The overlooked, underestimated, quiet problem solvers who refuse limits. If you feel unseen, ignored, like your voice doesn't matter, this message is for you. The dream wasn't about the famous or spotlighted. It was about the hidden light, the book glowing in the shadows, waiting. The unseen innovator is a call to action. A reminder that valuable insights come from unexpected places. A challenge to stop waiting for permission, recognition, or credentials. And a warning: the world can't afford your silence. If you don't open your book, the archive stays dim, and humanity stumbles in darkness. There's something heavier than failure or ridicule: silence. Not peaceful silence, but the suffocating silence after being ignored too many times. The slow erosion of belief in your voice. That's the weight I saw pressing down on the brightest volume. Their light remained, but their willingness to shine was smothered. This silence isn't chosen all at once. It creeps in: hesitation before speaking, editing bold ideas, stopping raising your hand. You start believing your insights don't matter, that someone else will figure it out. But they don't. The insight stays locked inside, gathering dust, while the world repeats mistakes you know how to avoid. The world rarely notices this silence. It doesn't mourn contributions never made or solutions never shared. How do you measure absence? You can't. So silence multiplies, invisible but devastating. It's a hidden tax on progress. I've seen this in factories, offices, conversations. People carrying insights that could save millions, yet they stay silent. When I ask why, the answer is always the same: I tried once, but no one listened, or I'm not qualified, or what's the point? That's the weight of silence. It convinces brilliance to lock itself away. Our systems produce this silence. Classrooms reward memorization over curiosity. Workplaces elevate credentials over competence. Cultures mistake confidence for competence. We train people to doubt their voices unless packaged in credentials. People don't stop having ideas. They stop believing their ideas deserve to be heard. Resignation spreads faster than inspiration. But silence isn't neutral. Every time someone stays silent, the world loses something irreplaceable. A method that could save a business. A perspective that could heal conflict. A solution that could save lives. We'll never know because it was never shared. That haunts me. Not the noise of bad ideas shouted loudly, but the quiet absence of brilliant ones never spoken. Think about your life. How many times have you held back an insight, thinking no one cares. How many times have you dimmed your light out of fear? If you're honest, it's more than you want to admit. You're not alone. Almost everyone carries a graveyard of unsaid ideas. But if silence becomes identity, you stop seeing yourself as someone with something to say. You start believing you're just another dim book on the shelf. That's the lie keeping the archive dark. That's the lie convincing people to fade away. But what if silence costs more than we realize? What if the solution you think doesn't matter is the one that could unlock the next breakthrough? What if your silence isn't just your burden, but our loss? That's what I saw. The brightest book glowed not because it was celebrated, but because it carried truth. The tragedy wasn't lack of brilliance. It was silence. And I woke with this conviction: we can't let silence win. Not now. Not in a world this fragile, unstable, desperate for solutions. If you feel ignored, dismissed, underestimated, recognize this. The silence isn't proof your ideas are worthless. It's proof the systems are broken. The world looks for the wrong signals. Your silence isn't humility or wisdom. It's surrender. And we can't afford your surrender. Your voice might be the one someone else is waiting for. Your insight might be the bridge someone needs. Your story might be the pattern someone else can finally see. But none of it matters if you keep it locked away. Silence feels safe, but it's the most dangerous choice. Dangerous to you and everyone who could be changed by your light. The weight of silence is real. I felt it. You felt it. But silence isn't destiny. It can be broken. When one overlooked voice rises, the ripple is unstoppable. Shelves glow brighter. The archive awakens. The world shifts. So the question is, will you carry silence or set it down and speak? That endless library wasn't random. It had structure. Each book pointed toward something larger. They were compasses. Each life carried bearings, lessons that could guide others through storms. But like a compass locked away during a voyage, those bearings often go unused. That struck me hardest. We are a civilization surrounded by compasses, but we've forgotten how to read them. Every generation leaves guidance, not just in textbooks or institutions, but in lived memory. People alive today remember scarcity, war, resilience, self-reliance. They carry wisdom we've almost lost. They remember when failure wasn't terminal. When identity was tied to adaptability, not resumes. That memory is a compass pointing to truths we've forgotten. Freedom is fragile. Resilience matters more than comfort. Communities outlast institutions. Yet we dismiss these people as outdated or irrelevant. We forget they carry bearings we desperately need. The forgotten compass.